Yours.
Oh.
11:11.
Yay.
Oh, we're live! Hello,
Too.
friends. Hello. I am going to... Oh, yeah, you're sharing it out on your thing.
Yes.
And I'm going to pop over here and make sure this is shared in the story as well. Oh, it's perfect. We went live right at 11:11 on the 11:11 portal. That's what I'm talking about. That's the goal. Welcome, everybody jumping on and joining us.
Hello.
Hello. We are streaming live from and on 3 different platforms. So if you don't see the comments or viewers that we're talking about or talking to, don't you worry. We'll read the comments from the other channels, platforms, and pull them up on the stream so you guys can all see what everybody's saying. So, oh, you didn't hit it yet. So that we can all be connected that way. Yay. Welcome, you guys. We're so excited. Happy 11:11 portal. It's a big deal. It's a big day.
It's an amazing day. It's a day of twin flames, and it's also... I'm like, it's the 11:11 portal. I'm freaking out. Look at that.
I know, the microwave's bugging me.
Hold on.
The microwave's bugging me, and the 2 cupboards open are bugging me. I grabbed my tea right before we went live, and my environment can't handle those 2 cabinets either. Can you shut those? Yeah. We'll talk about that on this live stream. Welcome, everybody. We've got a list of questions from our stories that you guys have been asking. As well as just some general questions we've been receiving around the closure of the New Earth Healing Center, the store, and the physical location. And so we felt really excited and honored by all the requests and the questions to come live to spend some of this beautiful 11:11 portal with you guys. We feel very lucky and very privileged to get to be together as twin flames. It's on the rarer side to meet your twin flame in the 3D physical reality and to get to be in union with them. And not everybody has a twin flame. So we're going to be just sharing a little bit about ourselves, and we just wanted to share us with you guys today for a little bit of this day. It's a really special day for us. And if you don't know what a twin flame is, there's a lot of different philosophies and theories that people have on twin flames, but the general consensus is the idea that it's a single soul dwelling in 2 bodies. So it's like an oversoul that's been split in identical yet opposite aspects. So the way that shows up in our union, we're both Aquariuses. My moon sign is Virgo, and opposite of that, if you look at the zodiac wheel, is my love's moon sign,
which is Pisces.
That's
what mine is.
So we're identical as well as opposite. If you look at our human design charts, for those of you familiar with human design, if you're not familiar with human design, see this as another huge sign and opportunity to dive deep into it. I discovered human design in 2018, spring of 2018, as I was going through my divorce. And it has been something like the very first night that we met, we talked about the fact that we were both projectors, and we talked about human design for 3 hours. Chelsea, if you're on here, and I think I saw you pop on, Chelsea was there talking about human design with us. And yeah. Chelsea's a manifester, which is really cool. We use human design in our parenting, in our relationships, in our coaching. It's a huge foundational tool that we use, and it's something that in these last two eclipses at the end of this eclipse season, we got such profound downloads that it's time for us to lean in even more to speaking about it and using it and actually leading with it in our marketing and in our programs in even a deeper way. And we're excited about that. I'm kind of rambling. Jump in anytime.
Well, as you're saying that, it kind of leads into the certain, it's we've come to certain crossroads and points in our business and life and everything that has shifted because of human design. Everything has everything is changing basically. So there were a lot of things that we were realizing and that we have realized, especially with the illumination of these incredible eclipses that are coming in, that have been coming in, that we're needing to change things up and just
oh, you're so cute.
And just feel into everything in a different way and in a more intentional way. Human design has been the key component, I would say, in us getting really clear that closing the store was the right choice.
Yes. So let's dive into that. Let's give you guys some background on it, because that's what we all want to know.
That's what we all want to know.
The juicy behind the scenes details. What's up, Indrani, you badass?
Hey, Indrani and Nikki.
Nikki Reed.
What's up?
Sandy. Hey. And welcome everybody else joining us. So we've got this streaming on 4 different platforms now. So we'll either read you guys each other's comments or pull them onto the screen so that we can all be together in this. We're so honored and excited to spend some of the 11/11 portal with you. This is a day of twin flames. Keely and I met in 2019 at a retreat. And when we saw each other, it was soul recognition. So we wanted to give you guys a tiny background on what twins are. So I'll share with you like what I know of twins and my experience, and then Baby Love will jump in and fill in all my gaps as she does. So one of the things that I wanted to say about Baby Love is that Baby Love is connected to like interdimensional realities. So sometimes when we get on a live stream, she really connects to the ethers and starts channeling stuff, and it can come out really messy and bumpy like you just heard it. That's why I was laughing, because I'm sitting here knowing what she's doing, and she's on level 5 and 6. I'm like, she's dropping stuff about like the end of the live stream. She's like, so that's why we decided to close the door. Like, let's do the background information. But she's usually quite a few steps ahead of me and ahead of even our clients' vision. And so that's part of the way that our twin flame energy works, is she forecasts and sees things ahead. And then I come behind her and help build the bridge to that space. It's a lot of fun. It's awesome. So
it really is.
Twin flames. The idea is it's a single soul dwelling in 2 bodies, identical, but also carrying the full spectrum of polarity. So the masculine and the feminine. And the idea is that when you've done a certain, and it's not necessarily in stages, let's say, but if you're meant to be on a twin flame path and a twin flame journey, you will have experienced a certain level of deep inner shadow work. And then your growth will be stunted, or you'll hit a glass ceiling, and it will be time for your twin to come in. Because basically I thought I had a lot of shit really well put together and figured out until I met my twin. And then I was like, it was like a whole nother world of the metaphysical, quantum mechanics, soul retrieval work, shadow work was brought online because my twin is so shiny. And that's the idea. Your twin is your ultimate mirror, and they can shine into you in ways that you've never before felt seen. So you never felt so loved, so deeply seen. And then you simultaneously, there's a flip side to the polarity where you've never felt more rejected, more misunderstood, more judged or blamed in your life, because they represent the deepest aspects of your own inner wounding. So the games that you play internally, that you act out between the different aspects of yourself, like let's say your masculine shuts down your feminine, that's actually a systemic problem on the planet collectively. Like if you want to know what twin flames navigate in their relationship, just look at the collective as a whole and apply that to the micro inside of a relationship. So if you can see, like, this has been a problem for a long time on the planet, and we all do this internally, because as within, so without, where our feminine, that intuitive knowing, that feeling space that isn't dependent upon logic, and that does see into the future, and that is expansive and believes in the unknown and the mystical, can get shut down by the logical side of our brain because it's afraid. It's scared of dying. It's scared of losing. It's scared of the unknown, right? And so that's something that in our union can happen. Baby love will come in with ideas or with energy, and symbolically, as the masculine in our union, I will feel so terrified of her wild visions and her what can feel, it feels very erratic to the masculine brain, to the logical side. It feels very scary. And this is like the battle of the sexes, if you will, that's been since the dawn of time. And not to say there's not shadow feminine aspects that don't come up all in here and trigger me. Like there it goes. There's no victim. When you understand the infinity sign, you imagine that there's no beginning and there's no end. When you've got wounded feminine energy, you have a dysfunctional pattern. If you have wounded masculine energy, you have a dysfunctional pattern. That's why relationships are one of our biggest teachers, because it's the opportunity to have a light shown on those patterns. So whether you're in a soulmate relationship, a karmic relationship, or a twin flame relationship, it has immense value. No relationship is better or less than any other in any sort of hierarchy. However, I will say, having been in all three, that this is my true desire for this lifetime, to maintain union with my twin. And in order to do that, I get to be so deeply connected to my truth and myself and doing my shadow work.
Yeah.
Because what actually magnetizes your twin in is your deepest level of authenticity and alignment.
And love for yourself. It's that love that you, through the shadow work, you create and understand yourself in such a deep way that magnetizes them into you. So the more you work on yourself, the more your twin will be magnetized towards you. And that's exactly what we did when we met. We were doing deep, deep shadow work, loving ourselves, accepting ourselves, and seeing, and the ability to self-recognize more than anything was what really was bringing us to finally meet. We did. So
I just want to say howdy to everybody that just jumped on as well, on all the different platforms. Got some people through YouTube. What's up, Lisa, Sandy, Shawnee,
hey,
Sherry. Hey, everybody. Susan, Jamie, Christy. Welcome, all
What's
of you
up,
guys.
Jamie?
So we just wanted to give a little bit of that foundation. It's really fun and really powerful to work together in union with my twin. We are both projectors. And if you look at our charts, we only have 2 defined centers each. We both share the throat is defined. And then I have an ajna defined.
And my G center is defined. But my ajna is open and all the rest is open.
And so when you look at our charts, they actually look like an infinity sign when you overlay them. And both of us only have one full filled in direct channel. And mine is the one that connects the ajna to the throat. And hers is the one that connects the heart or the G center to the throat. And so through that channel, through us speaking, we can activate the union energy of the masculine and the feminine in a being. This is a really amazing, powerful thing to be able to do, because that is basically, at the end of the day, everything is about the energetics under the surface of whatever we're creating in our life, business, or relationships.
Yeah.
And it's about union. It's about oneness. It's about bringing everything back to that. And so often we can think that in order to unite the mind and the heart, that the mind needs to be more like the heart and the heart needs to be more like the mind. And that couldn't be further from the truth. That's the illusion. Those are the seeds of war that have been planted that make us think we have to choose either or. It's a lack and limitation fear frequency. So those of you who can receive this and get this, just take a nice deep breath, because that's activating and grounding in some really deep truth for us around the nature of things, the nature of this planet, which is we believe in a lie, a distorted way, that we all need to become like each other. That in order for us to get along, we all need to have the same gender. We all need to have the same religion, the same value systems. We all need to have the same skin color. We all need to have the same belief systems, political affiliations, and it's all lies. It's all bullshit, because actually the most aligned revolutionary solution is going to be where the intersection of union meets between the two of them being their most aligned selves. right? So that's the far spectrum of the right and the far spectrum of the left. If we're talking politically, the merger, the unification of those two things creates the baby, creates the solution that the entire collective has been calling for. But what happens is, through seeds of war, divisive energy, that's through lack fear-based frequencies, we create division. And then we believe the lie that to get along, I have to give in to get along. I have to become like everybody else. I have to see it like them. I have to dress like them. I have to walk like them. I have to talk like them. And what you do then is you dilute the very unique ray of light frequency that is your contribution to the tapestry of life that is the solution we all need.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need is more people being more themselves, being more differentiated. The clearer the mind is, the clearer I am on my role and my skill and what I'm good at. And therefore, to be honest with what you're good at, in order to get to that, you have to be honest with what you are bad at, what you're shitty at, your shadows. So that's why shadow work is so powerful. When I'm owning the full limitations, which we're going to dive in so deep today, talking to you guys about the center, when we're really honest with our limitations and where we're at, we're simultaneously honest with our gifts. But when I know and own what I'm good at, I no longer feel the need to step on Baby Love's toes metaphorically and do her role, her job, her way, and vice versa. This is where the power of the human design system comes in. I'm not here to be a manifestor, manifesting generator, reflector. I'm not here to be all these other things. I'm not here to be a classic projector, an energy projector. I'm here to be a mental projector. And I'm here to be specified in my unique gifting to such an exciting degree that there is no mistaking my flavor for anything else. And it's that level of specificity that unleashes tidal waves of transformation. That is what it means to be a divine rebel and to rebel from the lies that exist that there is a one size fits all. That's what it means.
Here, 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 here. Being able to really recognize yourself and give yourself the gift of doing shadow work and realizing what you can do and can't do is just the most loving thing you can do for yourself. I'm like, what are the words? It's the most loving.
Honoring.
It's the most honoring. It's you really adoring the self and the human being that you came to be.
It's the bravest thing in the world to be who you are. It's the most loving thing you can do. And it's the way that we actually heal the planet. People wonder, what can we do to stop all these horrific bombings and this disgusting war and this heartbreaking stuff that we're seeing out there? What can we actually do? And you'll know if you're in areas where you have a direct impact and you can do something, or maybe you're somewhere like, I live so far away from where any of this is happening, right? If you're in that position where you're like, what can I do today? At a minimum, the answer always comes back to love yourself. Because when you love yourself, you don't feel the need to be jealous of anyone else, to pull anybody else down, to attack anybody else. And I'm telling you, the seeds of war that have grown to create this disgusting display of the darkest sides of humanity. You, me, we all play a part in that being able to go on. In our level, our lack of consciousness that is in some way contributed to the world as a whole still tolerating this level of mistreatment of life. So when we love ourselves, and then we find and create room to love all the variations of life that exist. Now, that doesn't mean you need to be best friends with everybody. What makes it work is that the parts that are designed to work together are magnetized to each other. If something is supposed to be the great arm of humanity, but you're a piece of the knee, thank God you're being repelled from the elbow. You're not meant to lift there, stand there, be there, work with those components. You're meant to work with the people in your soul group, the people that resonate with you. And the sooner that you don't judge your preferences, judge where you feel comfortable, judge what your intuition is calling you to do, the sooner you'll be exactly where you're meant to be. And this really brings us to the beginning of our journey of opening the center. We're projectors, which means the guidance for projectors is that our value we bring here isn't our life force energy of doing this. The value I bring to my home isn't my ability to clean and organize with a type of energy that's consistent and driving. Projectors are meant to work 3 to 4 hours a day. And outside of that time, be resting and recouping, because the type of energy and the type of work that they do is highly demanding. There's a level of energetic and emotional and mental fatigue that's created by the type of work projectors do. And as I'm saying this, I can even feel the collective resistance. So that's why I just want to invite you to try it on and consider this as an experiment. Projectors typically will really struggle in their careers. They'll career hop and jump. They'll struggle to consistently show up with repetitive behaviors and patterns. Projectors are going to thrive more in positions of strategy, designing buildings, writing pieces of music, creating artwork. And again, I'm using these as example. Any type can be in any industry or any career, but it's the way that their energy is going to be approaching those things that shifts things. So
because of the open centers inside, projectors can see into the environment. They can see into people, into places, spaces, everything. Because of the open centers, we will go in and take on all of the things that need upgraded, that systems need revamped, redone, or created. And we can see those. We can see into any situation. So basically, because of those open centers, we're excellent coaches, advisors, and what was I going to say with it? Shoot. My mind just went blank. Well, because of that, we are able to just see into people, see into places, see into experiences and things. I can't remember what else I was going to say.
It'll come back to you.
It'll come back.
Yeah. So when we opened the center, we knew this about ourselves.
Yep.
So
we had been doing human design for what?
I found, yeah.
Me too.
I was probably 3 years. You were probably 2 years.
There's a deconditioning process that goes into it. That is for sure, especially for projectors.
Yeah. So when we opened the center, we knew right out the gate, we wrapped up our previous coaching groups, and we actually stopped opening up for any clients. We weren't taking on any new clients because we knew this. We knew we needed to budget our energy. And we knew that we needed to be really involved, especially in the beginning, to get things set up and to build the systems. So that's why we ran the store for the first 2 to 3 months. But once we reached that point, we knew we aren't designed in the way our energy works to run a store. I wasn't born to run a store. I was born to be a guide and a coach, which I'd been doing online since 2014. And Baby Love and I had been doing online together since we had come into union for about 2 years. So we hired people to start running it. We decided we were also going to open a coffee house. So we hired a coffee manager. We brought in a consultant, because we knew we weren't meant to be the ones like doing all of the work. We're meant to be like the vision and the guides and the owners, but that there are certain things that are our limitations. And like I was saying, owning those things allows you to be in your gifting and what you're truly good at. So when you start on the journey of understanding your human design or doing your shadow work, it can be debilitating. Yesterday, I was crying about this to Baby Love. I was like, I wish I was a different type. I wish I was a different way. Because you'll have these moments on your path of shadow work where you see a shadow, you see a weakness, you see a trait, and it's hard to even stomach for yourself. You're like, ugh. We use another system in conjunction with our coaching that's called operating styles. And operating styles is your default operating method based on how you responded to traumatic experiences in your childhood. And one of those for me is the controller. And controllers on a positive side get a lot of shit done. They're very like direct. They make things happen. They have great follow through. And when they commit to something, you can really rely on it and trust that they'll follow through. Now, the shadow side to the controller is when they're not feeling safe and they go into a fear frequency. They can be very pushy or a bulldozy energy or kind of deaf. Like, I'm not listening to any other ideas. I'm just like hyper focused and I'm going to make this happen. Right. And so knowing and owning that about myself, there are times when I see that that's my shadow and I can feel so over it. I can not like it. Like, do you have anything like this about yourself? I'd love to hear. Jump in the comments.
Yeah, jump in.
What are some traits about yourself? Because I'd love to tell you the light side of those gifts. Some of them are really obvious and some of them are maybe not as obvious to you, but this is part of our gifting. Mine especially, I really can see and understand people's shadows and their gene keys. So what are some traits about you that you've been called? Like, I was called a button pusher, right? I've told you guys, I have the gene, I think it's 39, that's provocation or dynamism in my chart, 2 places. That's why if you feel like I poke your buttons or push your buttons, it's because I do that. And in the shadow side, it can be, just pushing buttons for the sake of, people's reactions. Like, think of kids pushing each other's buttons, like just intentionally annoying their sibling, right? And then on the light side, there's like this dynamic energy to it that's like, the punchline of the joke, witty, fun, transformative, activating. Like, I love being a coach, like a basketball or a sports coach, because I can use that provocation to just fire my players up. So if you only look at the shadows of the trait, you can move into self-rejection and you can try to cut those aspects off of yourself. But if you cut off the shadow, you cut off the gift. You can't have one without the other. And this is why, bringing it back to like twin flames, masculine and feminine union, you can't create life without male and female, right? And that's very like 3D realistic. Like, if Keely and I wanted to have a baby, I don't have sperm. That's like a factual 3D reality, right? Take that even though into the metaphysical or the spiritual. If you don't have both your masculine and feminine working together towards an end goal, it will be sterile. It'll be impotent. It will be, you can't do it. You get to have both. And that's the same with our shadow and our light. It's really important to understand. So, irritability. Yeah, Amy. So irritability, that's a not self theme. That's frustrations and not self. Well, that's more of a bitterness. Do you know your human design, Amy Freeman?
Yeah.
There is a gift in it. So hear me, like, there is a gift. Irritability, we would need to know like a little bit more about that, because that could be a surface level emotional response rooted out of a gift. But irritability is usually because you're extrasensory in something. So if you're irritable about something and you're seeing it as a shadow, it means somewhere you're dismissing yourself. You think that being irritable about this is high maintenance, ridiculous, too much, not okay. There's some judgment around it. Mm-hmm. When if whatever you're irritable about, it's the same thing for projectors. Projectors tend to have more sensitive digestive systems, more sensitive hearing, more sensitive all of that. And people can think, well, I wouldn't want the leader of my country to be a projector because they're like kind of sensitive. They have weaker immune systems. They're blah, blah, blah. But actually, wouldn't you want the leader of your country or the leader of your group or the guide, right? Like going on a survival trip, like through the safari or something, you'd want your guide to start reacting to plants the fastest, right? Because if it's not good for us, it's also not good for whoever's on the safari with us. It's just we're reacting faster and sooner. Mm-hmm. So if you have an irritability, Amy Freeman, there's a reason. And you're highly sensitive to something. There's something that's misaligned. somewhere in your life. And we would get to obviously dig into that, and it would be fun to do because that's something we could diagnose in really quickly. There's somewhere that something's misaligned. And so this is where we move it. Part of shadow work is like, there's no wrong feelings and there's no wrong traits. There's just negative expressions. Hear me. A shadow just means something's blocking the light. Like right here, we have a light going and I can put a shadow on my face. You see that right there? But if we walk towards the shadow and we move and we embrace the shadow, we are the light. You are the light. So if you walk towards your shadows, if you walk towards those negative emotions, you just like walk straight into, I know you're on this camera, Amy Freeman, if you walk straight into that irritability, just walk right into it, love it, embrace it, hug it, it disappears, it begins to melt. And it becomes wisdom, it becomes feedback, it becomes part of your internal guidance system and realignment system because you're not running from it anymore.
And you're not hating on it. You're not rejecting it anymore. You at this point have loved on it and seen it and embraced it in such a way that it's you can see the gift in it. You understand yourself more because of it. You understand that like, I'm starting to feel irritable or I'm starting to feel this. Where am I not honoring myself? Where have I, what's going on in the situation? Like you're able to see now because you've loved it in such a way that it can't, it's not going to bring in any distortion. It's only going to bring in more clarity. Because you've been able to love it and see it in a way that you hadn't before. So in all these ways, it was something that was this deficit inside of you. Instead, now it's something that everyone, including yourself, can benefit from having. It's the part of the human that you're born to be. It's beautiful. And you can't have that gift without that shadow. Anytime we flip into fear or love, that's how it gets flipped over. But the more we can really see into it, the easier it is to love on it and accept it.
Oh, it's so good. So with the center, we got to this point. We hired a coffee house manager. We had all these things in place. And our funding, our business partner for the coffee house backed out on the day of construction. And not only did they do that, but they actually, they were also the owner of the building we were leasing. They decided to sell the building. So overnight, we went from a like business partnership deal to that funding gone, everything with the coffee house on hold, and the building going up for sale. And in the small town that we're in, you can imagine that got quickly spread around everywhere. And there were rumors that we were closing, and it created like kind of a scare. Like people stopped coming in. People didn't want to rent offices. So it created, like we opened the store, and before we were even 8 months open, we'd hit our first 6 figures. We just like opened, launched, nailed it, hit it. We had everything set up. And then this situation happened. The building went up for sale. When the building went up for sale, the actual owner of the building, because this was somebody who wasn't the full owner of the building, they were the building manager, but it's part of their inheritance anyways. The building got caught up in a litigation issue. And we had no property manager. We had no support with the building or any of that stuff because both of them were court ordered to stay away from it. So right at this like really critical, like as I'm repeating it, it's just wild.
It's true.
At this critical juncture in our business and the growth, this all hit the fan. And so we had to pivot. And one of the big mistakes we made right at this point when we were pivoting, and this, we're just laying all this shit bare in service to you guys, because I know the type of people who listen to and follow us, and how awake you really are and how conscious you really are. And you're going to get this and be able to apply this to your own life. But when that all happened, we hired this coffee house manager. So we tried to keep her busy with things to do because we were paying her on a salary. But once we had the menu all figured out, we had all like where we were going to order everything from, we picked our coffee, we had everything figured out. We were just literally waiting on the funding to pull the trigger to make it all happen. We're like trying to keep her busy, but we're actually leaking her whole salary out the back end of the store. And luckily our coaching business made beautiful money to be able to like float all this overhead. But the actual store itself, the center, was going in the negative. It started going in the negative right after all this happened. Like it was like the business took a little bit of a hit, quite a bit of a hit.
It definitely did.
So we started recouping and pivoting, but this is the mistake we made. We put the needs of other people ahead of our own. And this is where the like codependent religious trauma shadow started coming in. The people pleaser started coming in. And we allowed ourselves, because first of all, we didn't want to take back on the duties of running the whole building and running the front desk and all the maintenance with that.
Because we were clear about that.
Because we knew we were protectors. So we were like, we don't want to let them go. But the business itself started getting the monthly revenue started dropping as all this was happening, but our expenses were going up because we were getting ready to put in the coffee house.
Yeah.
So instead of releasing that employee or making adjustments elsewhere, we floated it for about 4 months. And so that salary was just into a black hole, basically, for 4 months. And during those 4 months, this is the other mistake we made. We were renting out the building to a practitioner or a healer person that was renting out the conference room. And there were some misalignments with it. And their events chronically went 2 to 3 hours over the time. And they didn't pay for the extra hours. And also because they started their events so late, they were in the building till like midnight or 1 a.m. So we were needing to like stay up and stay awake and show them out and lock up the building and like all of these things that were really going against our boundaries, really going against our own self-care. Right, baby?
Exactly. I gotta let this talk out because we don't talk out.
Right before we got on here, this is why we actually started the live stream at 11:11, which was perfect. But right before we got on here, you guys, one of our dogs, both of our dogs, I don't know, they got into somebody's Halloween candy yesterday. And they left us a little present that I stepped in and then walked that dog shit literally all the way up our stairs, and it's and so that created a bit of a delay.
P.S. There's still poop on the floor. Okay.
Well, we found more right as we were going to go live.
So I cleaned it up, but it wasn't enough because there was another round. But I'm trying to get this to set
anxiety, Shayla. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, everyone popping on and sharing something. The more you share, the more everybody benefits. So you all are badasses and just brave as fuck for being able to just share whatever it is you're giving.
You create invitations for us when you do that, and we're able to channel for you.
Yeah, and you're
so
also
if you want any of channeling, any direct support, or even want just our aura to touch on what you say, just comment. And then every time we see that, we link up, our energies link up, and we're able to channel like the words and everything that we're saying are guided for you because we're connected to your aura.
Oh, I don't know.
I cut her off. I cut her off.
It's all good. It'll come back. It always does.
That's the thing too, is like when we talk, I know I do a lot of the talking on here, and some people are like, people have made these rude comments like,
that's what did that one guy say?
Yeah. What did that one guy say? He's like, Keely's just this wounded, little girl clinging to Violet Rain's arm.
Yeah.
And I was like, bitch, you don't know who runs this house. You bitches don't know the queen runs this house. I know that. Everyone knows that. But when we channel, she's just feeding me stuff. And we have, when we're really aligned, we do have some really fun telepathy. That's another thing that's in twins. And so she'll just be sending me stuff while I'm talking. And because I'm already talking, I just keep talking. Usually. Yeah. So it has a problem with that. I'm like, well, I didn't make the rules. I just follow them. This is just how the energy works a lot of the time.
It's true.
So thank you once again for everybody who's jumping in and talking. We're trying to make sure you guys get to see, but we don't want to block our other live stream cameras. So sorry, Instagram. Anyways, Okay, so that's what it brought us to. We were in a position where we weren't honoring our own boundaries. And I did a live stream a couple of days ago about this, you guys. Just when you don't honor your boundaries and you self-sacrifice in ways that are self-harming, you create negative karma for yourself, no different than if you went out and intentionally harmed somebody else. So that's why it's so important that we be honest and we be authentic and we just let people know this happened yesterday. We have a long-standing client that we absolutely love and adore. And we were just doing a check-in call. It wasn't like a coaching call or it wasn't a session or anything. It was a quick check-in. And the way that our gifts work and how they come online, unless we're in an active container with recognition, it's best for us to not be on live video chat with people until that's established. Our R's are very penetrating. A lot of stuff starts speaking to us. It's very distracting. And so, but a lot of people prefer live video, especially when they're doing a consultation, they like want to meet us and all that. And so there's been this like given to get along, like, okay, let's do it. And then after basically the universal 2x4 and these 2 eclipses and closing down the store, we're like, okay, we're listening. Our energy works better in those initial calls to have it be audio only. And so we told our client that. She was like, come on, just turn on your video. And then we explained it to her and she was so sweet and supportive and understanding. But I forget how I segued to that. Basically, when I was self-harming, when I wasn't honoring that, like, actually, this is how my gift works better. They're actually getting less value, right? That's what I want you to hear is you think you're helping people when you people please or you enable, but you actually, they end up not thanking you for it. My dad always says, no good deed goes unpunished, in the energy of like, right, if you are self-sacrificing in this way to please people, they're not going to thank you for it. You'll end up becoming the martyr or the villain in this story because the energy wasn't in honor. It wasn't aligned. And that definitely happened in that case. That individual ended up starting some really intense rumors about the store and about us and really harming our reputation. And the mistake we made then was we didn't send them a cease and desist. We should have. It was defamation. It was untrue stuff. We could have easily got a hold of attorneys and sent a letter of cease and desist and just nipped it in the butt.
And more than anything, that is us standing up for ourselves. That's us loving on ourselves and letting someone else know that the things that they're saying and the way that they're saying it, it's just not acceptable. It's not wanted. It's not okay. So, it's for them to stop, but it's also for us to know that we stood up for ourselves in a way that we aren't going to just push it under the rug. We're going to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that sends a message to the self.
Yeah, and to be honest, it was hard to do that because our energy, like we said, we have all these open centers. So all the people we were surrounded with and that we were absorbing and amplifying made it really hard for us to make decisions with what to do to handle it because we wanted to be nice. We wanted to be perceived as nice and we wanted the people to like us. And so we started to go into these very unconscious people pleaser patterns and really started losing touch with ourselves. And we started, a year after opening the center, we decided that it wasn't flowing for us and we wanted to sell it. We wanted to be done with it. So we've known for over a year that it was no longer aligned for us. But we, once again, didn't want to close because we felt all this loyalty and all of this stewardship over our clientele and our customers. And once again, when you self-sacrifice in ways that don't please you, it comes back and bites you in the ass. So there were months when things started getting really tight and really, really tough that we were losing sleep over payroll, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, selling vehicles, leveraging things, taking out additional lines of credit to restock inventory. And we've poured, I'd say, last we checked, it's about $250,000 into a black hole of a business.
Well, yeah, that's what it ended up turning into, but
it didn't start that way.
It all started with the first, when the building went up for litigation. That was really the beginning.
Of the end.
Yeah, it was.
It was. And that was only 7 months after opening.
Yep.
Another thing to note too, when we weren't being honest and authentic with ourselves as twin flames, because of insecurity of just saying we're twin flames. People are like, what is that? We don't believe you. That doesn't make sense. They have no comprehension of that. So we just stopped talking about it. Stopped saying, oh, people don't understand what projectors are. Blah, blah, blah. It created a lot of question marks for people. So some of the first practitioners that we had in our building, our twin flame relationship can be really triggering because basically, if you're in a relationship that doesn't light you the fuck up and you get around us, you can start really hating the relationship you're in and wanting it to change. And that mirror creates a desire in the self that if you don't believe your desires are safe guidance, a lot of people hate their fucking desires. They hate them. They hate that they want for that because now it tortures them or it haunts them. And they don't understand that if you want something, it means you're meant for it. And so when they have us activating that desire in them, but they can't have it, that bitterness or that frustration can get turned back around on us. Like, quit being so shiny or quit being together or creating judgment or like, wow, you guys are always together. And I'm like, I mean, pretty much, unless our projector selves demand that our auras be empty of even each other. That's the nice thing though. When we're together, the only thing I'm really putting into her aura is my ajna. And the only thing she's really putting into my aura is her G center, which for the most part as twins are either we're super on sync. So being with her is like being alone, or if we're dancing in shadows or polarity, they're opposites. And then it's like kind of explosive. So when that happens, then there's lots of alone time and separateness. But on an average day, we flow in and out of the day together almost all the time. We shower together, we sleep together, we get dressed together, we do our hair together, makeup art together. You know, I totally stood next to her while I put this hat on today, right?
It's true.
But we love doing things together, and there's been judgment from people about that. Like, why are us together? And I'm like, well, because when she's not around, I feel like I'm missing my fucking arm. You don't know. Once you meet your twin and that's all activated, you've never felt so restored. Like I've never felt so myself. And like every single thing in my body is lit up. Every single cell is dancing. Every single cell is full of light. Every single cell knows its purpose. And it's literally by just being in her aura. That's it. We don't even have to be talking to each other. I don't have to be looking at her, but being in the same space. And when I'm away from her, like physically away from her for more than 2 hours at a time, it hurts my body. When we were first dating, I would be driving away because we were 6 hours apart. It was long distance. And I would literally feel like someone was tearing my heart out. It made no sense at all. And that's what I'm saying. Twin flame relationships break traditional paradigms. So a lot of people don't understand that. And the only association they have to that type of energy or bond is a codependent, dysfunctional one. And can it feel that way? Yes. Are you kidding me?
It can.
It can. It drives me crazy sometimes. I'm like, woman, I feel like I can't make any decision unless I hear your opinion on it because like fucking respect it so much. And it's a little exhausting because sometimes I just need to like trust my own self, you know? And vice versa all the time. Not all the time, but it can happen.
Yeah.
And so
when we're in fear, when we're flipped over into the fear, that's when it happens. When we are in those lower archetypes or in those lower, we're not in the gift, we're in the shadow.
mm-hmm.
So it happens.
Yeah, Amy, that's what I was thinking when you said irritability. I was thinking this you're not self theme. So I'm glad that you confirmed that with your human design chart. I want you to know we're going to read all of these. If we're not reading them right this second, we will read them and we'll reply either live or we'll reply after the fact. So thank you. Please keep writing, keep sharing. Sherry, so strange, but I had this dream where you two showed up. You were both in small car and you drove in the grass behind this house and then into the driveway and then into the street. No idea why I had this dream, but everything you're saying is making that make sense. Fuck yeah.
Oh,
fuck yeah. I love
amazing.
that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Sherry.
Yeah, I want you guys to know if you have dreams about us, what it can mean. So because of the way that our energy feels, first of all, we are projectors. So if you don't know in human design, that means there's different aura types. So like a generator has a big, round, fluffy, enveloping aura, and it feels good, especially if they're happy. If they're happy about what's going on, it just feels so good to be around them. It's the best. I'm doing my little wag the tail. I learned this from her. This is her thing. When things feel good, she wags her tail. So it feels good to be around them. Manifestors have like a tighter, more impactful aura. I see them kind of like little wrecking balls. We've got 2 generator babies, and we've got 2 manifestor babies. And then projectors, our aura is cone shaped. So it actually pokes you. It can be very pokey to be around a projector. That's why the guidance is wait for the invitation. So
Yes.
imagine twin flame projectors, which first of all, the twinness, it's like an amplifier. It amplifies our shadows and it amplifies our gifts, right? That's like the nature of the design of a twin flame union, okay? So already really shiny. And then you add the projector thing. So imagine getting around how intrusive that can feel. So we act as huge mirrors for people. And how
Yep.
they respond to us doesn't really say anything about us. It says something about them. That's kind of the nature of it. So if you find yourself, we're here to be mirrors and guides. So if you have a negative dream about us, someone had a negative dream about us and like basically accused us of some fucked up stuff. I'm like, your subconscious created this fucked up dream that had us as players in the dream. Dreams are symbolic. Dreams are you communicating with you. Now, can we and have we interdimensionally done healing work in our sleep and assisted and supported clients and shown up as guides in dreams? Sure.
Yes.
And I've had negative dreams about people, and that does not mean they're that thing or that way. So if you have dreams about us, again, that's really cool. And also though, go into asking those deeper questions of like, what do we symbolize for you? What aspect of you do we represent in those dreams? Maybe a masculine aspect, maybe like, I know Sherry, we've talked deeply about some of the different like triggers, especially I've represented in my directness of things from your past. So it could be things from your past that are being brought up that get to be looked at. But I invite people to not give their power away to dreams, even the human design system. It's an experiment. If your intuition is guiding you towards something, that always overrides your strategy. If my intuition says reach out to this person, even though that's a manifestor initiating energy, I honor that first. So again, don't turn human design or anything that anyone outside of you says or does into another religion of restriction. If it doesn't empower you or have you feel more aligned to God's source energy, then maybe you're misinterpreting it. Maybe you're not actually applying it. Because even when I do shadow work and I feel like shit, ultimately it empowers me towards freedom, towards self-acceptance and love. But if what is happening in the way you're seeing it isn't doing that, use that as a sign that maybe somewhere you need to just invite God in. Christ consciousness. I mean, you can invite Christ too, okay? I didn't mean you can invite that. Buddha, the higher self-consciousness, but saying like, God, angels, universe, source, I'm open and willing. Please assist me to see this differently. And you will. You pray, you ask, you intend, you send that out. You will be gifted with a perspective shift. And it can come in the form of, I've had perspective shifts looking at memes. I've had perspective shifts in conversations with clients, in conversations with my mentors, right?
When you're listening to a song.
Yeah.
When someone else is speaking to someone else and it's not even having anything to do with you personally, but you receive the message because they're talking to someone else and you have a similar story or you have a similar circumstance. So you can actually gain so much from that interaction just by being a witness. There's so many different times when you can have that perspective shift in so many different ways with anything. Like you were saying. Did I cut you off? Sorry.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just reading all these amazing comments. Thank you, Amy. I'm just really grateful for everything that you're sharing. It's really awesome. Amy's sharing some really cool stuff, you guys. She just said that she's had other dreams. She had one about Keely, where Keely was going to help her for free because she felt bad for her. Thank you for sharing that. That's a very vulnerable share. And so I would invite you to journal about that.
Yeah.
Meanings about that, and give yourself the space to allow more clarity to come through about what that could symbolize for you. Really cool. So much good energy. I'm just honored and grateful to have all of you here. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being willing to be the change that we want to see on this planet, for the way that it's a beautiful 11/11 portal. It's a Saturday and you could be doing a lot of different things, but you're choosing to take a stand for a transformed world, for a world that is led by honor and not by force or by push or by compliance or by, what's the word where we all conform, but is led by our individuality. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. We want to share. We've been through 2 years of some really deep pain and some really deep bitterness, because that's our not self theme. So when we're not honoring our projectorness because we're wrapped up in people pleasing or proving that we're not like demon summoners or whatever the fuck people say.
Or, yeah, whatever they say.
Yeah. It's almost like, right. Can you imagine? Baby Love has all these open centers, and she literally, like, I'm like her kite string. Let's just be honest. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, and the shadow side of some of Keely's gifts are people can perceive her as an airhead.
Yeah. I'm sure it's happened on this live already.
And so I like her kite string that like keeps her grounded in reality. Right.
Yeah.
And then someone, and not only that, but like we've got trauma, like that we're also healing simultaneously with all this. Like we're talking CPTSD from like narcissistic abuse over a 15-year time span. Like that's some deep, dark shit to heal.
It is.
So imagine having that, and somebody that you respect and you like is like out there spreading this rumor that she's like this sniveling whatever on my arm. So imagine the pressure sometimes when we used to go live and she's like, okay, I gotta not come across like I'm an airhead. I've gotta not, like, it creates pressure that creates the not self theme. That's what I'm wanting you to hear. When you're afraid and you go into those frequencies of fear of being like misunderstood or missing or needing to prove, you actually it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It really is.
Because I'll flip into fear and then I'm in fantasy. Or all my gene keys that are my not self. That's what it is. I flip into the not self like everyone else.
Right. That's what we all do when we go into the fear frequency. So, anyways, after I'm just bringing you guys back to the story. So that gets us to year one. All of that happened in year one. Okay. The practitioner that was spreading rumors, we had an employee leave that spread rumors, and we finally let that employee go because we realized that we were in a pattern of people pleasing and they couldn't fulfill the position. They couldn't show up on time. They couldn't be consistent. And so we were having a difficult time keeping the center staffed because they couldn't be reliable. So we let them go. But because we're projectors, and when we see into people and we love people, they feel so validated and so seen. When it feels like that energy stops or we pull back, it can really trigger an abandonment wound. And it can bring out the nastiest side of people. And this actually happened with 4 different relationships of people that worked for us, that when we needed to let them go or it no longer was a fit, they couldn't, like, they felt so deeply rejected, and it was really hard that they went on to go into, I mean, just like imagine in like breaking up with somebody, right? Like when you break up with somebody and they're feeling that deep rejection, you'll see sides to them that you never saw during the relationship. You're like, maybe you saw little hints of it, but all of a sudden now, they're going crazy and they're like, keying your car and slashing your tires. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Right. Because their deepest traumas or their deepest rejection or abandonment gets brought up. And we remanifested and recreated that occurrence a couple of times with some of our employees, all because we were operating from our not self theme, and we were people pleasing, and we were softening our boundaries around stuff. And then when we would realize it, and when we would come into like, okay, wait, we need to reset the energy, and actually this isn't going to work. And if you want to work here, then these are the expectations, and this is your warning or whatever. And then, okay, we need to let you go. It was like the betrayal that they were experiencing and the pain from that was really intense for them. And as we were watching these disappointing cycles and we were feeling our bitterness growing, with that, the income of the center just kept going like this.
Yeah.
And our exhaustion was going like this.
Yes.
And we were so deeply in the not self theme. I was raised by an MG and a manifester. And I was raised and conditioned, to, like most projectors are, to be a manifesting generator and to initiate and to go for it and to push harder. I mean, I was a college athlete. I did every single activity under the book. I did theater. I did drama. I sang in an opera once. Isn't that cool? I did all these different things like a manifesting generator would. And so when things started getting really hard, I was like, okay, we just have to like push through this. We just have to work harder through this. And so we did. And last year, during the month of November and December, we created this huge push. We did $100,000 in online coaching revenue in 37 days.
Yep.
And all from our not self theme primarily. I'd say about 80% of it was generated from our not self theme.
Yeah.
And when that happens, the burnout that happened afterwards and the exhaustion that happened afterwards and the ricochet that happened afterwards, it was almost like, okay, you created $100,000 in immediate revenue to like turn around. We wanted to get, all of our sales tax bills paid and cut up, the accountant paid and cut up, taxes paid and cut up, all these things paid and cut up with this big inflection of cash because we'd had such a hot, cold year with these different, very significant situations that happened. And we turned all this stuff around and we were getting some really exciting momentum. But then the ricochet from how we went around generating the income started coming and biting us in the butt. It really did. Thanks for speaking to your store. I'm in that space right now and looking to change it. How does a projector make a projector feel? Pisces and Virgo moons balancing each other. Yeah.
Oh.
Must be why I want you guys to like me so bad. Penetrates me, laughing my ass off. Yeah, spiritually speaking. Right?
Yeah.
We always think of, what's that line from the show? Oh, it's from Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
And Fat Amy goes, she goes, not a good enough reason to use the word penetrate. It's true. It's funny. But metaphorically speaking, that's how it can feel, right? Imagine how violating that feels to have someone's aura automatically just like poking you like that. Doesn't feel good. So
what I was going to say to Sandy, like, how does a projector make a projector feel in an interaction? When they're in love, I would say, depending on if the conversation is just honoring, I would say great. If they're in fear, pokey. Pokey.
So, and with this, I just want to bring us to the conversation about homeschooling. So we know and have wanted our children to be in a Sudbury style school for quite some time. We initially, when we moved to Vernal, we were looking to open a Sudbury school, but one of the parents in our co-parenting collective is adamantly in resistance to more of a new age approach to education and to us really having the reins on that. And so that kind of shut it down. But not only that, my mission isn't to open a Sudbury school. I believe in them and I want my kids going to them and I'd love to financially support them. But I really do know what my zone of genius is. And when I step out of that because I see or want to create a solution with something, just because I see a problem doesn't mean I'm the one meant to solve it. And this is where projectors can get really tied up. So if you're a projector, hear me, everything you see, you're not meant to say. And every problem that's there, you're not meant to fix. Only the ones that are aligned with your fascination, your unique contribution, and the ones you've been invited to. That's it. And
take a deep breath with that. Take a deep breath, projectors.
I've been wanting to help everyone, say everyone, fix everyone, which is really rooted in a lack-based mentality of fear, that what is and where everyone at is so wrong and so not okay, which really isn't New Earth consciousness. New Earth consciousness is an acceptance and a love of whatever is, so that we can then love that into what it can be. And when projectors run around, or any of us, any of the types run around looking at what's wrong in the world and what needs to be fixed outside of ourselves and outside of our aligned calling, we can create more disruption because I'm over here fixing a problem I wasn't designed to fix. And so I'm sitting in someone else's seat at the table. And when I sit there, they can't come there. And then my seat that's needing to be filled is vacant. And I get to get back there and stand in my birthright to empower everyone to stand in theirs. So as much as our passion is homeschool, we love meditating with our kids and doing Spanish with our kids. 5 kids' energy all day long in our space, needing snacks, meals, refereeing, help, homeschool help, social interaction, being drive here, drive there, does not create the spaciousness and the rest that our actual projector energy types need to be able to do our calling. So although it is really shitty that this is where we're at, because we don't have the budget for a nanny right now, they're all going back into public school. And that feels kind and it feels good. But the other side of the desire of wanting them to have a specific type of educational environment and experience is feeling sad. And I also do have religious programming that the best place for my kids to be is basically up my ass 24/7, which as a projector isn't the best because we really do need to empty out. And I've said this to Baby Love so many times, like we have to get up in the morning and get momentum and get a plan in the direction of what we want. Because the minute all 5 of those energies hit us, what we were planning to do, what we're needing to do is gone, and all their desires have replaced our desires.
Yeah, because all of our centers are open. So when they get around us, we literally absorb it. And whatever their desires are, they just become ours because we're literally absorbing it and then amplifying it. So we become the bitches. And because of that, we do not have the energy or space to empty out like we really get to as projectors. So really honoring and looking at that. But like my love said, all of the programming is telling us that in order to be a good mom, we need to have our kids with us and we need to,
Be
we
the
all
ones.
know.
Be the ones.
Be the ones for everything, the beginning, the end, the one that teaches them how to, do all the things. And it's just not true.
Yeah.
But the programming will tell you that it is, and that is what it takes to be a good mom. And what's more loving is for you to get what's best for you is what's best for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for a fact my kids want a mama that is rested and has been able to, fill their own cup, because when it just runneth over. So giving that to myself is key.
Mm-hmm. It's true. We all have similar conditioning because it's in the collective energy, but how each type interprets it and enslaves themselves is different. So whether you're a generator, manifesting generator, reflector, any other type, you have conditioning that's telling you how to be and what to do, that's not allowing you to align to your most effortless flow. And so if you're feeling snags in your energy and in your system and in what's coming and in your ability to manifest, there's some things we get to look at in the chart. And I've heard a couple of people as we've been really like reclaiming and talking more about human design, because we talk about it every day in our parenting and our everything that we do. We talk about it all the time. We just don't usually talk about it here because sometimes people are like, oh yeah, I've been reading about my gene keys, or I've been doing YouTube videos, or I bought this course. That's amazing. And knowing how to directly apply and also correctly interpret your gene keys and your human design, that's very different.
Yeah.
You can, I saw in a projector group I'm in the other day, this woman was saying she's living in a house that does not honor her type. And for projectors especially, or anybody with an open G, your environment is very, very important for you. As a mental projector, I become my environment. Yeah. So that is like, if I'm struggling, all I need to do is change my environment and then I'm aligned again. It's that simple, which is a cool hack. But also on the flip side, I have felt limited by that, or like weak or sensitive or whatever, based on my conditioning from my amazing family. I'm a Stegelmeyer. I'm like, 6th generation Ashton, Idaho, whatever it is. I'm from a really cool line of people, but they're all farmers and they're tough as shit and tough as nails, and you don't talk about needing anything, and you don't be sensitive, and you just slap some dirt on that shit and blah, 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 which doesn't actually honor how sensitive in particular my actual energy system is. So that's
No.
been part of my conditioning with that. So basically, bringing that back around, I got a little sidetracked on that. Shit.
Well, as you got sidetracked, I was just thinking,
Okay, good.
Papa, like, you know, me, if you have anyone or from anyone in your family that doesn't really allow
Oh, that's what it was.
accommodations, that doesn't allow
Yeah.
anything,
You were conditioned with something as a child that doesn't honor the person you are now.
Yeah.
And so deconditioning that, and that's where I was going, knowing how to apply that, that's where it is. Thank you. Okay. The projector that was messaging and saying, my environment isn't healthy for me. I hide in my room or I sleep over at my boyfriend's house. I'm just waiting for an invitation to move. I was like, no. That's misapplying the strategy of waiting for the invitation as a projector. You do not need an invitation to hold your boundaries. And the home and the environment you're in is absolutely a boundary. So if it is toxic or unhealthy or not safe for you, get the fuck out of it. Change it. You don't need to wait for an invitation, a golden invitation to come in the mail, right? Waiting for the invitation more applies to our energetic way we interact with others, not necessarily the planet at large. If I'm outside in the wild and I see a flower that I want to pick, do I need to go and ask it if I'm invited? Like, what are you saying? It's an energy, though, of when you're meant to share your gifts and truly pour into people in the way that you're meant to do it only when it's consensual.
Mm-hmm.
There's an honored invitation for you to speak. That's it. And anyway, so that's an example of misapplying the information. So like I said, if you read or discover anything in your human design or your gene keys or your own personal preference that feels like a limitation, that has you not liking yourself, in that moment, you are interpreting it through a distorted lens. It's meant to empower you, and it's meant to bring you back home to yourself in a very loving way that feels like a cozy, warm, snuggly hug.
Yeah, and it is an experiment. So what resonates with you and everything, that's key. All along the way. There's a deconditioning process that happens, and that's why I'm laughing, is because it takes, they say, about from the time you start researching and understanding human design, it's a 7-year deconditioning process. So, and I also say that if you really just follow your type and your profile, you're good. And just knowing that about ourselves, like, it has literally taken years for us to be making choices, and we still have years to go, but it's taken us years to realize, you know, we are projectors. It's taken, just like my love was saying, even yesterday, it can be overwhelming at times to know and to realize and to come to terms with the fact that you are a specific type. So it's been a really incredible learning process about myself and about you and about my kids and everyone in our family. It's just the way that it is so spot on.
Undeniable.
It's been just the most beautiful learning about every single person in my life in such an amazing way. It's been such a privilege and honor to be able to know more about my twin, more about myself, more about my kids. It's just really incredible to be a part of it. Oh, I highly recommend it.
It's so good. It's so good. And, you know, I just wanted to say, just because there's a demand for something or just because you're good at something doesn't mean it's what you're meant to do. If you don't love it, if it doesn't light you up or it doesn't bring you joy, you are perpetuating the old earth constructs by staying somewhere you're truly unhappy. And the truth is, as much as we loved providing the space of the center for all of you, especially those of you joining us that are local, you know, if I compare my shop owner skills to my skills as a coach and a motivational speaker, they're not even on the same planet. This is truly the work that it is that I was born to do. And I know that. And we wanted there to be a safe space in Vernal. And we really believe and know that we had a contract to do what we did when we did. And as everything came to a head
Yeah.
and everything started getting, we had a couple last runs of like, okay, if this new employee works out, if this thing works out, then we can get on top of it. We can get this launched. We can bring in a manager, and it can just be a business we own but don't run. But that energy was so in resistance to that. And even the building itself was in resistance, and the owner of the building, everybody is happier now. The tattoo artists that were there have a really fun, exciting new direction that they're going. Everything is working out for the best of everyone involved. And it took us really just being honest with ourselves, with where we were at, and finding ourselves at such an energetic, emotional, physical deficit where, you know, I did my first 6-figure year in business in 2017 and have been coaching with my love since 2019. And we have worked with people in packages up to $50,000 for our specialty, where we've been recognized at such a deep level and provided value in such a way that, and we're right now receiving the downloads for a $300,000 package. And I know for the conditioning and the programming out there, it's like, whoa, wait, what? Who do you think you are? And that's our come from conditioning and programming. And it's really only based on, it's a mindset. It's a mindset around money, and it's a mindset around value. And so to know that inside, it's kind of like a brain surgeon that's highly skilled and trained to perform brain surgery, and instead deciding to go work at Taco Bell and expecting to get the same rate and the same recognition. When we work in our specialty, like completely fully owning it, we provide results that are aligned with that exchange. But when we're in the not self, and when we're trying to be doers to create value, we work against ourselves. And I'm sharing this because if you're on here watching this, there's somewhere that right now you are working against you. You're working against your design. You're working against your passions, your heart, your intuition, because of conditioning. So I'm just inviting you. This is the energy of all of November, is bringing us into full authenticity and honesty with ourselves. And in full honesty, I can't homeschool 5 kids and live in my genius. If I was a manifesting generator, I might be able to. I might be able to get up at 5 a.m. every single morning and go hard all day long and collapse into bed feeling very satisfied. But when I'm a projector and I am attempting to work against my design flow, I create pain for myself and other people. And the same truth applies to all of you. So as vulnerable as it is to talk about and like admit or own the lack of energy required to do everything, it was like almost having bigger eyes than, what is the expression? Your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And wanting so bad to be able to do it all and be it all for everybody. And then in the end, actually having people upset at us. And it's like, whoa, actually, if someone didn't ask for it, they don't actually want it. And so you're over here making yourself a martyr and becoming bitter that they don't appreciate it. Like even our kids, none of them asked to be homeschooled. None of them. So the first 3 to 4 weeks, it was a push and a force to really get them to surrender into homeschool. Yep. And even now, if we're not actively in the room with them, reasserting, forcing, or pushing the value of homeschool, they don't see it at all. They don't, other than not having to be at school.
Yeah. They see it as we are doing something that they do not want to be doing.
Yep. And that creates a resentment from them towards us.
Yep.
So even though we're over here going, oh, we know what's best. We know what's best. Trust us. We know that this is best for you. 2 of them especially have been asking to go back for a while. And none of them have ever asked us to do it. And that's another example of it. Us wanting something for them to give them a certain type of experience that their souls aren't inviting. And if it's best for us, for them to be, the house to be empty of other energy, and that's really what it comes down to, the space feeling more spacious and open and empty of other energy for these times during the day, these 6 or 7 hours they're at school. If that's what's best for us, that's going to ultimately be what's best for them, because we'll have the energy and the resources mentally, emotionally, physically to engage in the relationship based on the invitation versus us forcing what we think is best.
Yeah.
It's a tough lesson, folks. It's been a tough lesson. And it took us self-sacrificing in dysfunctional ways and then being hated for it, judged for it, or punished for it, basically, by people where I'm like, whoa, I bent over backwards for you. And now you're making rude TikToks about me. What the fuck? Why did I do that? Because if it would have been up to me, I would have just been like, sayonara, hasta luego, ciao, bye-bye now. But instead, I bent over backwards and self-sacrificed in all these ways.
Yeah.
And then you hate me for it on the backside of it. So
yeah, there's some real negative karma that gets created from going towards invitations, from doing things that were not invitations, where there was nothing invited. There we go. Shit.
Well, and the way we're able to get to these conclusions and understandings, for those of you who are wondering, is by just being honest with ourselves and recognizing that there is no victim. Like, we're not the victim of this. So asking the question, like, how the fuck did we generate this? How the fuck did we generate, like, this employee left and created all these bullshit, negative reviews on Google? Yeah, we had her take those down. That we did stand up for and get handled, right? Then we're like bending over backwards for this practitioner, and then we hold a boundary around like pricing and like all this stuff, like crazy enough. All of a sudden, now all these rumors start, right? And so there's another one, right?
Yes.
And then, this other employee, we're like bending over backwards, doing all this stuff for. We finally have to let them go, and they go and create rude TikToks. It's like. Then we offer for
negative
someone
karma
to you don't have somewhere to live? Here, let us, you can stay in our camper and we'll help you out. We'll like bend over backwards and we'll do all this stuff for you. And then they're like,
not self-theme.
They are hating us.
Yeah.
Because we weren't honoring what was really there. We were so worried about being liked or people pleasing that we actually went and created a self-fulfilling prophecy of dysfunction. And so that's really the lesson in this. Nobody's a victim. So if you're not liking something in your life right now, your relationship with your body, money, a partner, the world, the planet, whatever, the fastest way to a solution is through 100% accountability and ownership. And so people ask us sometimes how we're able to like alchemize those stuff so quickly or pivot so fast. And it's because of this formula. It's because of what we teach our clients. Things truly do turn around on a dime. So if someone's in a really shitty position today, I know we're 15 to 30 days away from a significant change and about 6 months away from their life not even being recognizable to what it is now. Mm-hmm. That's how fast you can heal and shift and realign things, you guys. Manifestation is fun. And when we start honoring what we truly desire and aligning our action. I'm trying to get my hat straight, but it's a mirror image. So it's like fucking with me so bad. Things come together so easily and so effortlessly. Yeah. And so, yeah. If you're feeling the call, I wanted to let you guys know the different ways that we can support you. So if anything we've said about twin name resonates for you and you know that you are a twin, we now do offer a Divine Union series where it's alignment coaching combined with higher self apprenticeship hypnotherapy, where Baby Love guides you to the seat of your subconscious and you ask direct questions to your higher self. Very, very powerful session. If all you have right now, if you're like, oh, I don't have the budget to do your $8,000 program, $10,000 program, whatever, but what could you do to get started right now? I would do a hypnosis with her. I would do a higher self apprenticeship. Those are $700, but right now for the 1111, we're doing them for $555. That's a 3 to 4 hour session. So powerful. Unbelievable. You can look up anything by Karen Curry, Glow. She's asking how to look up human design. Karen Curry has some good information. I believe she's a manifestor or a manifesting generator. So if you're a projector, her information will feel a little too general or surface for you. You're going to want to go to a projector that specializes in it, because the frequency of what they're bringing in is going to land and activate you differently. At least that's my experience. Great question.
I'm pretty sure. Anyways, yeah.
The next up thing. Okay. So, anyways, what was I talking about? Twin Flame, the Twin Flame Union series. So that includes 2 of those hypnosis sessions with Keely. It includes 2 Soul Print series sessions. And this is where I dive into all of your charts. So I cross-reference your chart in all these different systems. We've got astrology, we got human design, and gene keys. And then we do an activation session with you, and we look at the negative themes of your life in money, relationships, and business, and identify the deepest shadows and bring those aspects home. Because from that place of full self-love and acceptance, we're going to find your most aligned strategy. This is why we are such great business strategists, because there are so many ways to make money. There's so many ways to market, but that doesn't mean they all align to you and for you. If you're not including a 360 lifestyle design, you're working against yourself. So I know some people are like, well, how do you coach Twin Flame thing and business? I'm like, right, because energy is energy. Manifestation is manifestation. If the energetics aren't lined up, I don't care how many YouTube videos you watch or how many courses you buy. If your energetics and that foundation isn't there, you are working against yourself. And you're going to be learning through trial and error, which is really only that aligned for our aligned 3s out there. But even they can assimilate wisdom and create shortcuts for themselves by receiving what I'm saying to you here, which is go to the energetics first. Align the energy, and then the strategy after that comes really effortlessly. And that's something, especially with Keely's gift of timeline, like forecasting, we can very quickly tell based on where you're at right now in the strategy. We can play it forward 6 or 9 months and tell you exactly where you're going to be with pretty amazing accuracy. So we do have that for Twin Flames, and but all of our programs include that as well. So if you were to this weekend say you're like, I want to do a hypnosis, and you take the deal at 555, that would apply to any of the other programs you wanted to do after. So if you wanted to do a Master's Academy later, that would apply to that. If you wanted to do a full Soul Print series, that would apply to that overall price, if that makes sense. So the Soul Print series sessions, the higher self hypnotherapy, we use those in all of our programs. They're foundational. I haven't done actually, so I will say this because I have some of you on here that are clients that have done Masters Academy that joined us in December. That group did not get Soul Print sessions. That was, you guys didn't get those. That wasn't offered in that. Instead, we went a different direction with those. But through these last 2 eclipses, we're realizing that we get to lead with and own those components and own what we know is the most aligned way for our coaching to work, which is getting those energetics there first.
Yep.
Looking at those charts, and then from that place, because we've been doing all of this coaching with people based on what they're saying they want and they need, but we've been dealing with a lot of their not self aspects. And so that's why the coaching with this last group, this December group, we had 2 different people that hit a lot of walls because we would keep reintegrating, but because the not self theme was so strong, they manifested a lot of struggle in that. And so in these eclipses, right, and as we're like, we take 100% accountability 100% of the time, how are we generating these 2 clients that are feeling stuck and us stuck and all these different components? And the answer to all of those different things that we were feeling misaligned with was reground yourself in, you guys are twin flames, own that, express that, talk about it. And you are projectors, own that, express that, talk about it, and reestablish leaning into people's charts to get the energetic set for them first. So if you are a client that did the December group last year, it was like 11 months ago, right? Obviously, look, it's almost a year. That's why your group didn't have that. So if you want that, reach out and we'll have a returning client pricing for you to add that on so that you can experience that, because it's profound. So we do also have the doors open on Projector Academy right now. That's just for projectors, and it's human design deep diving. It does include past life regression or the higher self hypnosis. It includes 2 soul prints. That's all in there with the alignment coaching sessions. It's juicy. Anyways, some of you were asking in our stories, what all do you guys offer? How can we get help? And the services are fairly simple: hypnosis, soul print readings, and alignment coaching. Those are the 3 services that we offer. And then we bundle those based on your budget as well as like your goals. Like some people are like, I just need a soul print series session with you guys. And they do a little VIP mini series, and that's what they need. And other people are wanting more of an overhaul of their entire life, realigning their body, their environment. And those are the people that do more of the VIP packages at the higher investment ranges. Good. Oh, her pen.
It's not working.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh. Now it is. Got it.
Awesome. So I'm going to start kind of wrapping up the story of the center and then opening up for Q&A. So if you guys have Q&As, start typing those and we can get to those in just a second. But ultimately, we closed the center because for the last year, we've been running at a deficit in it. Not just financially, like the books running at a deficit because all the offices weren't rented out, and the series of reputation dings created quite a drop in sales and people coming in. It dropped 74% month to month after those rumors started, which is unbelievable, insane. That's why we pivoted and went back to our coaching business, right?
Yeah.
But we've been using our coaching business to float the store for a year, and it's been a hole, taking anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a month in the negative. So we're having to work extra hard in the coaching business to float all of that while operating in burnout. It was a projector's nightmare recipe for burnout. And we finally got really honest with ourselves. And the crazy thing is, as we started closing the store, everything confirmed it was what we were meant to be doing. Like, very few people actually were disappointed. A lot of longstanding people that we've served and loved for a long time were acted like it was a fly hitting their windshield. And those energetics were like, oh my gosh, right. We've been over here self-sacrificing, thinking that we're doing this noble thing. And actually, no, everybody's good. And you're in this way, there was a not wanted energy, essentially.
It
Right?
definitely, yeah. And we were seeing as time was going on that was definitely how it was feeling with more and more time. So, and it all started with the first time.
It all started
That first time.
that first moment with the building.
Yeah.
And it going under litigation. That shifted the dynamics of everything.
Yeah. And we look back to that moment as knowing like that was the time we wish we could have gotten out.
And we could have.
Then.
We
And
could have said, hey, we don't want to be a part of this litigation, and used it as an opportunity to exit the lease. But because we didn't want to let anybody down, and because we wanted to prove things and please people, we didn't honor ourselves.
Yeah.
And again, this is just a huge mirror
Where?
for where in your life are you doing that? Honoring your actual preference. Maybe you actually like girls and not boys. Being honest, you're not being authentic. Are you not actually lit up or happy about the career that you're in, or the job that you're in, or the city that you're in, or the clothes you're in, or the house you're in?
The relationship you're in, the just atmosphere in general. What is it that you're not being honest with yourself?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So today and this weekend is a really beautiful opportunity and window. There is a very magical portal. There's an opportunity for quantum leaping. So for those of you who don't know what that means you step outside of the physical reality of 1 + 1 = 2, and you move into 1 + 1 = 11. See how I did that? 11, 11 portal. Yeah.
Hey.
Hey. And you move into a realm where you stop doing the, kind of playing with addition, and you move into multiplication. And you step outside of allowing the 3D to, that's tea, this is water, what do you want? Okay, to dictate your reality, and instead you lean into the mystical, you lean into source, God source energy, and you heal those relationships, you heal those addictions, you break through those stories, you manifest the abundance, the career, the relationship. And quantum leaping is the way that we play. That's the way that we play. So we do have some different deals and some different specials that we're offering this weekend for people that feel called and aligned. We'll be running these specials all the way through until the 17th of November. So you have like 6 days. We've got awesome deals for, like I said, $200 off doing a higher self hypnosis.
Yeah, and I was going to add something on that. Like,
Yeah.
if you guys are wanting to meet your spirit guides, if you're wanting to meet, the people the very important team that has been working with you, this is an incredible space to be able to bring them in.
Ancestors.
Yeah. Any
Ascended
ancestors,
masters.
Yes. So I'm starting to work with clients just on a really, really deep level to be able to bring in all of your really, really deep questions you're wanting to know the answers to. So, and then they are there helping, guiding, and then bringing forth information that's coming from the future. Like, there's just so much that's coming through right now. So if you feel like that is something that's speaking to you and you're ready to really get those questions asked, and not only that, meet your guides, this is the perfect thing for you.
Yeah. Well, and what I want you to hear too is when you go to that space where you sit at the seat of your subconscious, where the higher self is on its throne, you get to ask questions like any question you want. Like, who is my soul family? Is this my twin flame? Is this the right relationship for me? What is my life's purpose? What is my block with this? We've had people heal chronic kidney disease problems that they've been dealing with for 13 years of their life in 1 to 2 sessions. Like, the reason that we offer this as our introductory thing into working with us, and we have it inside of every program, is because of how profoundly powerful it is. The answers come from you. Keely facilitates, but you answer your own questions. And not only that, when you spend 3 to 4 hours in that brainwave state, it's equivalent to like 30 to 60 days of consistent meditation. It is a quantum leap for that connection between the conscious and subconscious, healing that relationship. And not only that, when you're channeling your higher self in a session like this, Keely's probably done like 6 of these sessions on me. I don't even know at this point, but you feel it. You feel yourself. It's like, and you're literally a radio station. You're like channeling for yourself. And after the fact, a lot of it you won't remember. That's why you get the recording, and Keely has a bit of a transcription and keynotes that she takes. It's unbelievable. So if that's something that calls to you, if you're like, oh, I'm too freaked out about like going all in, like some of you know you're meant to go all in. So go all in. Let's get you in Projector Academy. There's 4 spots for that. Or we can put you in a twin flame union series, or just an individual BDIP series. We can do that too. Reach out, because we have some really amazing deals these next 6 days, and we'll keep posting about them in our story and stuff, but there are limited spots. So what you feel called to do, for those of you with emotional authority, sleep on it. We'll hear from you Monday. For those of you with sacral, I'm expecting a message today, because right now, yes or no. And then we've got a lot of authorities in between. If you're self-projected, talk it out, journal it out with safe sound boards, and come to your answer and allow your intuition to truly guide you.
It will.
It will. It will. Your strategy and your authority, if those are the only 2 things inside of human design that you really lean into, do it. I just want to say, Tina Marie Scuderia, it was so fun also to meet you. And I'm happy we're connected here online. So
how are you liking your shirt?
Yeah. Thank you for the shout out. That was awesome. Had a dream last night about meeting what I imagine meeting my twin flame would feel like.
Ooh,
that's a good dream. I wouldn't want to wake up. The marriage you're in, staying to not upset your spouse, staying to not hurt your kids, and hurting yourself in the process. When you finally say done, everything kind of falls into place for everyone involved. Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly what happened
Megan.
with the store.
Yeah.
It was painful. And that's the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is endings are painful and transitions can be just yucky. There's sometimes no pretty or graceful way to do it.
Yeah.
There really isn't. And we didn't want to do a big closing. Oh, we're closing. Everyone say goodbye and come cry and talk to
No.
us for a month. We didn't want any of that. We knew it needed to be a clean cut for our own well-being. And because of that, that truly is what's best for everybody else. And in trusting that, it has been. And so many people have been put back on their path of alignment because we've no longer been forcing something that was no longer meant to be.
Exactly. When the invitation is not there and you go towards it or create it, the negative ricochet or the negative karma that's created, there's just one wrong invitation or one wrong thing that happens after another until you're able to come back, until you're able to literally come back and you can like redo it in a way or change the trajectory or change the timeline. But until you can listen, you're just going to keep having all of the invitations and all of the things happening because you went out of the alignment in the first place.
Yeah. I believe Lisa is a manifesting generator.
I believe.
No, you have
Generator.
something manifestor in you, I thought. Rerun it. It's free to do that online. We actually are going to be able to run charts on our site very soon.
Yep.
They'll still be free charts. They're just going to be a little bit more in depth, and we want to be able to run them
For everybody.
and for everybody. So we're working on that piece. It's going to be coming very soon. So
Yeah.
we're excited about that.
I'm really excited.
So if there's no other questions, we'll start wrapping this up, but this is your chance. So if you've got questions, throw them in there. And, you know, to really drive this home with just a few simple concepts that you can take away. If the only thing that you remember in this life is being honest with yourself and living authentically, then we've done our job. Now, the journey of understanding and discovering what is honest and what is authentic to you, that requires that shadow work and that requires that deconditioning where we pick up those stories or those beliefs that we've held for so long and we examine them and we do the experiment, right? Like I wouldn't treat the human design like a new religion or a new law where it's something you shame yourself with. How am I doing it being this or being that? It's a tool meant to empower you and to liberate you. So if you're not using that way, I invite you to just step back for a second and take some deep breaths and then come back into the material when you are in love with yourself again. Okay. But at the end of the day, our honesty and authenticity has never steered us wrong. It's what brought me to being with my love. It's what keeps me with my love. And our relationship is simply symbolic of union. And we often know what's going on in the collective because of what gets triggered in our relationship. If you want to know when twin flames relationships are volatile, it's when anything in the astrology is volatile. We will feel and absorb and amplify those aspects to gain deeper wisdom in order to guide and support all of you or whoever's feeling called to the material at that time.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
So I'm not seeing any other questions popping across the screen. I'm feeling pretty empty.
Yep, me too.
So
thank you all for just tuning in and spending this time with us, especially if you stayed on the entire time. We've been on for now 1 hour and 42 minutes. It's a long time. So for everyone that was popping on and popping off, but if you stayed on the whole time, kudos to you.
yeah, cool. I'd love to know who that is. If you want to
Yeah.
comment and be like,
Me.
I'd love to know. And we'll also be leaving these recordings up and sending them out to all of you that are on our list and everyone in Inner Circle. You'll be getting more access to this recording to be able to rewatch it later.
Yeah.
I invite you, even if you were here the whole time, to rewatch it one more time. Like while you're cleaning your house or doing dishes, maybe at 2 times speed. It's on our YouTube channel, and that's where you can 2 times speed it. And just allow it to sink in at another layer, because the experience we've just been through, literally to hell and back, some of the deepest, darkest, most heartbreaking situations of our life, but knowing and seeing the way we generated them, called them in, and created them by the lack of self-love and honoring of the self. And that's what it really comes back to, time and time again. So if you can benefit from this experience, and if you can receive the activation, the knowledge, the wisdom from this trial and error of beauty, but a lot of times emotional, mental health that we've navigated. I would love for you to receive that benefit. I would love to transmit some of the shortcut and some of that permission to you to go find and be yourself. Sandy says, love you both. Thank you so much for this. I've been here the whole time. I'll be watching again. Thanks, Sandy. We love you. You're
We love
badass.
you.
Thanks,
Projector.
Flo. You're so sweet.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
And for those of you projectors who are joining us and stepping in to the Academy, we're honored and excited to support you when we see you. So thank you, everybody. We're going to end this now, and we're sending you a lot of love.
Have an amazing day.